What is up, everybody? We are checking in with some weekly tarot tips.
And for a feel-good hangout.
For those of you that are just getting to know us.
I'm Heather.
And I'm David.
From Zen Heads,
home of Zen Heads Academy. Now we do have a quick offer at the end for those of you that want more.
As well as some free stuff, because we love free stuff, just to say thank you for hanging out with us every day through sound difficulties and whatever. You like our new set change we got going on here?
All the things.
All the things.
So be sure to stick around for all of that. As you guys come on, let us know that you're here with a hashtag live tribe. Or if you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay fam.
Either in Vegas, no, we have a huge mountain fire, which is its fire season up in Mount Charleston, which is the mountains above us.
Right.
Thankfully, they're a little separate from us. We're not in too danger in the valley of getting burned
We're
down.
not in too danger.
But I'm just
danger.
going to go on with my English, however it comes out, just keep up. But
Put a little English on it.
But basically, we get the smoke like crazy in the valley when there's the fire season up in Mount Charleston. And I've been like all day, my eyes are burning. And I'm like, you have the COVID freak out whenever you have anything that happens. Like allergies, we're like terrified. So anyway.
It's the COVID.
Let's have some fun. Okay.
So it's time to play the emoji game. For those of you who already know how to play, get ready. For everybody else, this is how it goes down. As we go through the tip of the day, you pick the emoji that you think fits best, and we will pick our favorite at the end and pull a card for the winner.
That's what's happening.
And Nicole, good to see you.
Nicole's in the house. I love it when Nicole hangs out because she's my neighbor. She's like literally my next door neighbor, and she's like the dream neighbor. Like the neighbors we had before were like the nightmare neighbors. Like imagine the worst neighbors that you could have.
Oh my God.
They're like the family in the neighborhood that gets the cops called on them all the time because they're screaming in the streets at each other, and it is terrifying. So they finally moved out, and the new neighbors bought the house, and it turns out she's like this really cool groovy crystal baby.
Hippie crystal baby
and
chick.
I love her so much, and she's got cute kids, and she's super chill.
Right.
And she makes these really cool crystal grids. And Nicole, drop your Etsy shop in the comments because she makes these cool things called cosmic chambers.
Right.
And they're these little grid crystal art pieces that are super cool, and they're like and they like make your head vibrate. So.
And for everybody else who happens to be catching this on the replay, if you want your chance to win a tarot card pull, and play the emoji game. Oh boy. If you want your chance to win, be sure to check out zenrosegarden.com/events for when and where we go live and play next.
So today's a request topic. This request is from one of our students who's trying to get back into tarot or trying to really get started in tarot because she's one of those that are like many of you that are like, oh, I'm going to try my tarot. Oh, they kind of scare me. Oh, I'm going to try my tarot. Oh, no, they really scare me. And they end up in the sock drawer with the porn for a really long time, and you don't ever take them out. So this is kind of about that. So she wanted to talk about religious fears surrounding tarot.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a great one because it keeps coming up, and you'll know why in a minute. But this is a topic that can be several videos, but we're just going to do one piece of it today. Why there is such a history of religious fears around tarot.
Because tarot didn't start out that way, right?
No, it did not.
The very first tarot cards, the cards that are actually considered tarot cards, were painted by a court painter in the late 1300s in France for the king who needed a distraction from his nervous mental breakdown.
Basically, the king was going cray-cray, probably
Crazy king.
too much opium.
Needs a little... Okay, look at these cards. They're pretty, right? The cards were pictures of life in medieval times to kind of keep the guy grounded in the real world instead of going off into cuckoo land.
Right, and chasing the milkmaid. So like...
But where is she, though?
But yeah, so they...
Where's the milkmaid? Where's the milkmaid?
Okay, so the medieval times are very Monty Python, so... And tarot comes from the medieval times, so... It kind of goes hand in hand. But over time...
Monty Python Tarot. It's a thing.
I really wish there was a deck. Yes. Someone search, Google search, talk amongst yourselves, and drop it in the comments. So over time, they became tarot, these original few cards of like little pictures of life in medieval times, so the king could stay grounded in reality as much as possible. But over time, they became tarot. But the allegory of the tarot evolved, and they expanded, and more cards were added, and the minor arcana came in from the gambling world, and they became more sophisticated.
So before we go any further, why don't you break down the word allegory, because not necessarily everybody understands that word. Allegory.
Allegory is like a teaching story, basically, in the simplest terms.
There you go.
A teaching story.
So,
excuse me, smoke inhalation. So we are used to the idea.
Yes.
In our time period, in the free world, in especially the United States of America, we are used to the idea of the separation of church and state, right? If you screw up in the church, like, oh, I did this
You're not going to get taxed for it.
You just go to confession, you go, I'm sorry, I did this thing but you're not going to get hung for it.
Or thrown in jail.
But in medieval times, no such thing existed.
Mm-hmm.
You could get tortured or killed for breaking a law that was more church-related that today would be considered unimaginable, right? So the church at the time was often wielded like a weapon by the government. They were in bed together in not a very good way, right?
That's why the crucifix looks like a sword.
That's not why the crucifix looks like a sword.
But that's how we used to make swords as a kid. 2 sticks of wood. Just 2 sticks of wood.
Kind of games for you playing. So little clues to this are in the tarot cards themselves, and you've seen them probably many times and haven't really thought anything of it. And you bet the powers that be noticed these little things that were evolving over time. I'm going to show you one main card. But they really couldn't do anything about it.
Really couldn't do anything about it because it was so widespread. It was a pandemic all over Europe.
Tarot card-demic.
Tarot card-demic.
Just made that up.
And they would have looked like a dick. Right? So can you imagine the police or the military even, showing up at your door to confiscate your Scrabble game?
It was kind of the equivalent because tarot was already so widespread before it started having all the allegories and the stories and like the secret things. It was a very, very popular game all over Europe.
So they didn't have the resources to buck the government and buck the church at the same time. So starting rumors was a lot easier. It was free.
Let me rephrase that. The government didn't have the resources to take all your tarot cards.
Right. Okay. Let's flip that on its head. The government didn't have the resources. So they ended up starting rumors. It was a lot easier for them to do instead of, throwing their 5 military guys out to chase you down.
To contact trace your tarot. They didn't have the resources.
It was also free, right? And it was very simple to start a rumor and kind of get that fire going because everybody was afraid of screwing up in front of God because you might get hung.
Right.
God-fearing and government-fearing were pretty much the same thing. They were so closely intertwined that the government was God, if you want to put it that way, back then.
But here's the thing. A lot of people, there was like the Sheeple, right, who were like, I'm just afraid, I'm going to do it on hide. And then there's the people who are more the intelligentsia, right, who are thinking a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And we're like, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. This should not be, there's some bullshit going on. This wedding is horseshit. So there are people that recognize
this wedding is horseshit.
So that's when you start to see little clues into the tarot because there was no freedom of speech. You couldn't really come out and say, hey, I see this corruption in the government. They're using the church and God as a tool to beat the people. But you had the vast majority of people who were sheeple and following along because they're scared shitless because they really don't have recourse, right? There's not a lot of, they did not have the advantages we do of like a fair trial and all the good things that we have, which are even iffy in our time, right? Think about in 1300s, 1400s, it was a shit show.
Right.
So also they didn't have great sanitation.
We're going to give you a card as an example today that will break that down.
So the Tower card is one of those where there's little meanings that kind of buck the system. And I guarantee you the Tower didn't really start out like this. But
buck the system.
And this is one of those clues that is... It's not really relevant to reading in a card reading. So when you're giving somebody a card reading, this is more of one of those little kind of scholarly, geeky, medieval things that got written into the tarot by the anarchists. And I want to emphasize the fact that the people that were sort of bucking against it were not bucking against their relationship with God, or they weren't there's no God. They weren't denying their spiritual religious journey. They were just saying, you need to keep the government out of our spiritual bedroom.
Buck the corruption.
But we've had a couple, up to this point, we've had, it's very, very fresh, where you've had this separation of the mystic journey and the canonical journey of Catholicism. So not very around this time was when they decided, or centuries moving up to this time, is when they decided what books went into the Bible that were approved, right? And what books they were rejecting. And the books that they rejected are what we know as the Gnostic scriptures, the Dead Sea Scrolls, all those mystic books of the spiritual journey that got hidden away in the desert by the monks that were like, oh, no, this is like the mystic literature. But on some level, the church, the government/church that put the books of the Bible together, were like, we need to take all those books and hide them because those sort of more empower the people and keep the ones that keep you in a state of subservience to God/the government. So that's the system that was like down low, people trying to break. Okay, so rumors were started because that was the only way that they could really combat something that was already so cardemic through Europe. So I'm going to talk about the Tower.
Demic, I see what you did there.
Yes. So the Tower card I'm going to talk about. So
Tarot-demic. All right, the tower card.
In tradition, the outward tradition of this card is that it represents the Tower of Babel in the Bible.
Or Babel.
Babel, which is kind of where the word Babel comes from, because if you don't know the story out of the Bible, it's when King Nimrod decided he wanted to, arrogant King Nimrod decided he was going to build a tower to reach heaven, and God got pissed off about that because of his arrogance, and he shot some lightning to the tower, and the tower crumbled, and the figures you see coming out of the tower are symbolically King Nimrod and his minister. Okay, so that's who those two people represent. When you're giving a card reading, they represent you in your life or the tower of the things that change, all the things that we read when we read tarot, but that's what it means on the surface.
Yep.
So, but this is one meaning, that is the outward meaning, but the secret meaning by one group of mystics was in the secret, if you see the hat that's falling off, it's the Pope's hat. So it's really an allegory about destroying the corruption that was present in the Catholic Church / the government. So you see this very anarchist symbol there that's like kind of calling it out. Mm-hmm. But you could kind of explain that away. Okay,
it was light enough where you could explain it away.
Like you could also see, well, the Pope's hat is just showing that it's like the symbol of power and it's cutting out corruption. So you could like spin it however you wanted.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Say no more, say no more. But if you were on the club, you knew that the Pope's hat being thrown off of the tower was symbolically being, disrupting the corruption that was in the church / government.
Right.
But really, it's like, oh no, it's it's about the Tower of Babel. It's what's about that men sitting. So you've got this double meaning there, and that pissed off a lot of people because you really couldn't do anything about it. And you could easily explain this away as something different if you were somebody in the club, like, oh no, that Pope hat just means the opposite of what you think. But you're not going to hear this in popular tarot. This is kind of one of those tarot scholar nerd things. But that's one of the root reasons, and there are others in the tarot, that are why we have the religious fears around tarot. It was basically a government conspiracy.
So what started as a parlor game for the wealthy, absolutely no threat, right? No threat at all.
Yeah.
And then it evolved. And it became this kind of like hidden language and hidden way to rise up and buck the system. Okay? So you'll notice a lot of hidden meanings inside of tarot that were relevant at the time, especially bucking back against a corrupt government that was intertwined with the corrupt religious leaders.
And I think it's really fun because if you know the history, it's just you're like, oh, I get it. I've been mind-fucked.
I've been seeing all this. So as you guys hear these tips, drop your emojis in the comments that fit these tips the best, because I will be picking a winner here in a moment. And if you happen to be catching this on the replay, I'm going to pause Heather for a moment.
Yes.
If you happen to be catching this on the replay and you want your chance to win, Be sure to check out zenrosegarden.com/events to see when and where we play next so that you can come and join and have your chance to win a free card pull.
That's right. Happy hour is here because we're
Happy
not
hour.
going out for a while. So the thing is, the cards themselves don't reject the church.
Right.
That's the irony, is they're not saying, fuck all that. They're not
Right.
rejecting it. They're just like, you're messing up our religious system.
It's calling out the injustice.
Right, so they're because the cards themselves are very Catholic. They're steeped in Catholicism, which was the main religion in Europe at the time. But they're about the mystic journey and
Right.
calling out that corruption. That's more for another time, the mystic journey of the tarot. But I'll show you 3 other cards and they're not about positive or negative. You've got the Pope card, which is called the Hierophant. It's really the Pope card. And that can be a positive or a negative thing. I mean, a positive or not so positive thing. Because it just depends on how the cards lay out, because the cards are like this movable story, right? And you've got the High Priestess, who mystically represents the higher, what's behind the church, the higher mysticism. So there's all of these meanings. And you've got this one, which in Zen Ed Academy, we're teaching this masterclass this week. I'm not going to show it yet. Hold on. Patience. Capricorn. Okay, but this one is not necessarily church related, but it's sort of another one of those hidden snarky things. One, it's called the Hanged Man, and we're teaching the masterclass in Zen Ed Academy on this on Friday. But the Hanged Man is a quirky, snarky card. If you know the history, because in medieval times, they would hang people upside down to torture them for maybe a lot of religious stuff. But the fun thing about this card is the Hangman's just chilling. He's actually enjoying it, and if you see the halo around his head, it's sort of like, oh yeah, well, you can hang me upside down, but I'm going to have fun here.
And I'm still free.
So there's hidden messages in that too, which we're going to get to in our masterclass on Friday. But
right. So if you guys like these tips and you want deeper nerdgasms about tarot, then you really want to be a part of Zen Ed Academy. And be sure to stick to the end for that. We've got a little bit more on that. And we've actually got some Zen Heads here. So go ahead and all you Zen Heads, drop in the comments what you like the most about Zen Ed Academy and what some other people could expect if they choose to follow down that rabbit hole and kind of join us in the inner circle.
We have cookies.
We have many cookies, and there is plenty of dark side. Dark side.
Just want to give them a moment.
Yeah. Zen Ed is the best unit learning and replay fam for life.
Yep.
Absolutely, Holly. Good to see you, as always. Nicole says, nerdgasms. Yum. Let's see, you level up in all areas of your life. Nima. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good to see all you Zen Heads. And Julie says, Zen Head loves our Zen family and learning as much and as often as we want. And also, I will say, when you want. Great people to grow with. Awesome, Roxanne. No judgment zone. Today's winner is going to be Megan Johnson. You win the tarot card pull of the day.
I've shuffled this. I've been ready. I was going to say, oh my gosh, I have an itchy deck, but I know that David would take that in a different direction, and it's not actually true. But is that bad even for you? Okay, so the card that I pulled for you is the Four of Wands, which is the loveliest card, I think, in the deck.
Right.
For your personal peace. Your personal peace. Four of Wands, and I'm going to pull a second card for you, which I don't always do, but it was just like dying to flip off the deck.
You really just said that.
Let me finish the first card first.
Jesus.
Dude, slow your roll.
Jesus.
Your deck is way too itchy. So anyway,
Wow,
sorry.
we are on one today.
I am not. It's probably because I have my Rolling Stones shirt on. Okay, so the Four of Wands is about peace and upright. It's basically the same meaning. Upright and upside down is one of those cards that has the same meaning.
One of the few.
One of the very, 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 very few. But it's about joy, bliss, family life, being in nature. So it could be telling you it's time for you to go out and just like earth, take your shoes off, get into the ground, be with your family, whatever that means to you. But experience that bliss and joy and give yourself permission to unplug and be in the country, be in nature, be in the earth. So it's really a strong earth connection, but also bringing your people with you. So it's, Four of Wands is not just about you isolating in nature. It's not the hermit card. It's about you enjoying that with the people that you love. And also getting back to that feeling that we're all part of nature and reconnecting with that emotion, because we live in cities, at least we do, and you kind of forget about that nature connection that we really need to stay healthy and happy. It's also about bringing plants and life into your space. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about moving out, going out into having a vacation in the country. I'm going to go take in the country air. But about bringing plants into your house and bringing plants into your yard and bringing nature as much as you can into your little condo, high rise, or wherever you live. So it's calling you to do that. And
Julie says Heather has her own language today.
I do have my own language all the time. And I wanted to pull the second card because that was so super lovely that I felt like it needed something to go with it. And it's the Nine of Pentacles, which is basically a point in your time where you need to just kind of enjoy your resources. So the Nine of Pentacles is a card of achievement, but a card of, to me, this chick is like the bougiest bitch in the whole deck, even more than the Queen of Pentacles. Because she's like reveling and enjoying the fruits of her labors. She's enjoying nature, but also enjoying the fact that she's got some money that is enabling her to kind of let go and be free and enjoy that. So for you, understand that you have enough resources that you're going to be okay. So if there's any stress in your life, let it go. Enjoy the things that don't cost us anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Connecting to nature, connecting to love, connecting to our world and the people that we're here on this journey with. Hope that resonates with you, because those are the cards that wanted to speak today. Yep. So there you go.
So Megan, let us know in the comments how that fits for your life. And Julie says the weekly mediumship practice is the bomb. Yes. Oh, that also brings up, we do have 3 different types of practice in the group. We've got, in the Facebook group, we've got the weekly mediumship practice, psychic mediumship practice. We also have weekly tarot practice and weekly self-growth and healing practice. Those are all 3 on the weekly basis in the group. Perfect. Thank you. Good. Absolutely, Megan. I'm glad that resonated with you.
I love that so much.
I love this card. Awesome. You guys are amazing. And all of you Zen Heads, continue dropping in the comments why you love Zen Head Academy so that the world can know.
Because we're always looking for new weirdos. So yes. I want to pull a card for the tribe today. Just I don't usually do this, but
which tribe?
Our Zen Rose Gourd Garden All Tribe everywhere.
Our All Tribe.
All of you.
The All Tribe. It's like
tribe.
The All Spark.
Yes, I'm pulling.
It's the All Tribe.
I'm pulling the Ace of Wands. It's because this is a call to all of us to, now is the time to get started on that passion project.
And own your magic.
Put your dick in it. Let's just
do
it.
Whoa.
I'm in
You're in that mood.
I figured I was in the theme, so I might as well.
You are.
I pulled a super phallic card. So get in there, get working on your project.
Megan says, also, I miss nature. I used to live near the beach and can't wait to be back home again soon. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Nima says, so many ways to give back to yourself. What a huge blessing to have available.
Hell yeah.
Yep. And Megan says, having enough, that hit hard. I am on bed rest, and it's almost like a way for me to slow down and start building again. I have enough. Yes, you do. You absolutely do. And that's great to have some confirmation like that especially when you're going through something big in life, like being on bed rest.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. It's enough when I'm down sick at any time to be on bed rest. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Sucks.
That was the biggest message that hit me about that card for you, the Nine of Pentacles. More of the intuitive hit, because I'll read that. When I read cards, I read, from my knowledge and from intuition, and just kind of toggles back and forth. But that was more the intuitive hit, was that you have enough.
Yeah. And Julie says, Heather is straight killing me today. Killing me.
Because I got the dick jokes on blast, right?
Oh boy. We do want to take a moment to quickly tell you about that offer to join our online community where our Zen Heads hang out. Some of you are here already, and where we, as of a couple years ago, teach all of our courses, including our comprehensive tarot course. Can I just tell you how good it feels to have a group of people that is there for you, a like-minded group of people that is there for you. It just really, to see the camaraderie in the group and to see the level of support, like genuine, authentic support in that group.
He's getting verklempt.
Whew.
He's getting verklempt.
That is one of the main reasons that we did this.
Yeah.
And that we continue doing this.
Well, selfishly too, because we couldn't find a community
There's not one out there.
Right, that understood our snark. It's like, it's okay to say fuck. Okay, so anyway, we...
I'm a spiritual gangster, and I say fuck a lot.
So Zen Academy is a different kind of healing center that fits in the palm of your hand.
Yep, it did not just happen overnight though. We have put all of our education, our experience, and our good mojo into creating a safe space that delivers what has been missing from the spiritual industry for decades. Like I said, Heather and I have been looking for something like this and could not find it.
We just made our own clubhouse, but without all the fluff, the nonsense, and the unicorn farts that some of us can do without. Not just the same copy and paste stuff that is everywhere you search.
If you want in, we made it easy to access not just one class, but over 21 and growing, seriously deep, PhD-backed courses to binge on to your heart's content.
Plus all the lifetime replays. That was
right.
My
I took her line.
Did you?
I did.
I didn't even.
But that's okay.
I was busy operatically singing.
Be sure to check that out in the description. Since you guys have watched this far, be sure to check out the goodies we got for you. There's a link in the description below if you liked this video.
Hit that like button.
Hit it hard. I'm a like button apparently. If you want to see more videos like this,
be sure to subscribe.
And spank that bell super hard until it leaves marks. To turn notifications on,
so you're the first to know
when we drop a new video.
Or go live.
And we know that time is a valuable and precious resource. And the fact that you guys have chosen to spend that with us, we honor and appreciate that. But most importantly, that you are here to level up your life, your skills, your mind, and take everything to a whole new level.
We are drama today. We are just like upping each other. We're like egging each other on.
Absolutely. We honor and appreciate that even more. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next video.